Hey, guys, you know that feeling when you wake up and before your eyes are fully open, your brain has already started the list. All the things you said you were going to do, all the projects sitting there half finished, all the ways you're behind, you're falling short, you're not enough. So you hit snooze again, not because you're really tired, but because facing another day of wanting to do things and then not doing them, that weight is heavier than your body under these covers. And here's what nobody tells you: you're not fucked up. You're not special because of this. You're not uniquely incapable of getting your shit together. Your brain is literally working against you and it thinks it's helping. Every unfinished project, your brain filed that as evidence. Every time you got excited about something and then let it die, evidence. Every promise you made to yourself that you broke, you guys know what I'm going to say. More evidence. And now that your brain has built a case so airtight that you've started to believe it, this is just who I am. I'm not the type of person who follows through. I'm not the type of person who gets up early. What if I told you that's not a truth? That it's really just a pattern, and patterns can be interrupted. What if the gap between who you are right now and who you know you could be isn't about willpower or discipline or having your shit together? What if it's just about learning how to work with your brain instead of against it? Today, I'm talking about the thing that changes everything: self motivation, not the toxic grind until you burn out. Okay. The no sleep culture is dead bitches. I'm talking about the real kind, the kind that actually works for brains like ours, the kind that turns I should into I am. So, welcome to the Listen Bitch podcast. I am Brandy Lynette, and I'm here to push you into the potential that you keep pretending you don't have. And you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. That God given talent that you've been sitting on, making excuses for, waiting for the right time to use. Like, my whole purpose here is to help you write your story, not the one that you think people want to hear, but the real, messy, complicated one. Because when you share your mess, that's when other people realize that they're not lost. They're exactly where they need to be, figuring it out just like you. And speaking of figuring it out, can we just talk a second about how I've been living my life this week without food noise screaming at me 24/7? Like, my brain is finally quiet around food and I can actually focus on the things that matter instead of planning my next meal while I'm currently eating. Because I've done that. This is a whole journey that we can get into. Um, but just know breakthroughs are happening over here. And I'll send this in an email tonight if you guys are on my list, brandonlynette.com. Make sure you subscribe. I'll get an email sent out with what this is because it's not the shot. Okay. I know everybody's talking about the shot. Yeah, no, this bitch is afraid of needles. It's not happening. But just a capsule I take. That's it. But listen, if you tuned into this show today and you're sitting here nodding, thinking, yes, this is me. I need help doing all this stuff, Brandon. You guys, coaching is available and it is not out of reach for you. Okay. I work with people and I work with your finances. Okay. But I work with people who are tired of living in the gap between who they are and who they're meant to be. So if you're someone who's been stuck in your head, overthinking every move, starting things and not finishing them, knowing that you're capable of more, but still somehow not moving, that's who I'm talking to. Like the overthinker, the perfectionist who's paralyzed themselves, anyone with incredible ideas and you've convinced yourself that you're just not ready yet. You are ready. You just need someone to call you forward, and that's what I do. So today, I'm going to give you 11 tips that are going to change how you show up for yourself. And I have to be real for you. Like, this is something I still currently struggle with. Like, my brain is the kind of brain I train myself. Like, immediately I start the highlight reel of everything I should be doing or that I need to be doing. And I know you're there because I've been there a lot. Like, you're just living in this weird loop where every day feels the same. You open your eyes and there's this heavy weight on your chest. And it's not physical, but you feel it. And it's the weight of all the unfinished everythings, you know, that business idea, that podcast, the outline of the book. Um, God, even just working out or, doing something for yourself, whatever that is. All of that's just still notes in your phone. The creative project that was supposed to change everything is just sitting there mocking you every time you walk past it. And I still struggle with this on some level where I wake up after a couple of days of being in this fog and I'm like, what am I doing? You have to live intentionally because your brain is believing a story about you. That's it. It's just whispering that you're just not the type of person who follows through. You're just not the type of person who wakes up early and does workouts. You're just not the type of person that's going to get up and be ambitious and be intentional and read the Bible before you touch your phone. Every morning when you hit snooze and every evening when you scroll instead of creating, every moment that you choose the path of least resistance, your brain is collecting evidence. You're doing this to yourself. You have built this case against yourself, and the worst part is that you're really starting to believe the prosecution. The case is bullshit. Your life right now probably feels like you're constantly treading water. Like you're not drowning exactly, but you're definitely not swimming to shore either. You're just there and you're tired. You are so fucking tired. Not physically exhausted from doing too much, but like I've talked about on the show before, there's that bone deep exhaustion that comes from doing too little of what you were called to do. And you look at other people who seem to have it together. Make sure I'm not one of those people, okay? People who are doing the things and you feel this weird cocktail of, inspiration and shame. And you tell yourself, and this is exciting, you tell yourself tomorrow, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start tomorrow. And you feel excited. I mean, you are set and you're going to get up and do the damn thing, right? You feel it. You feel the conviction. But tomorrow comes and your brain serves up a fresh excuse. You're too tired. It's not the right time. You don't have everything you need yet. What if you fail? What if people judge you? And that pain you're feeling right now, it's not laziness. It's not a character flaw. It is just that gaping hole between who you are and who God called you to be. And every single day that you wait, it gets wider and wider and wider. And I guarantee your relationships are feeling it. Like you're irritable, aren't you? Short with the people that you love because you're frustrated with yourself. You're saying no to opportunities because you don't trust yourself to follow through. You're playing small because playing big requires you to believe in yourself. And right now, you're just not so sure that you do. This is what really keeps you up at night. You're terrified that this is it, that this stuck feeling is permanent, that you'll look back in 5 years and realize that you wasted time in the exact same place you are right now, having the exact same thoughts, feeling the exact same frustration. And what if I told you, okay, that the way out isn't some magical personality transplant? There is not a magic wand. But like, what if everything you need is already inside of you and you just need to learn how to access it? Ah, Brandon, there's no way that's true. Bitch, it's true. You have to, step number one, choose happiness, even when your brain says you don't deserve it. And it's going to say that to protect you. And I know what you're thinking. Choose happiness? Really? Like that's the advice? Hear me out because this isn't toxic positivity bullshit, okay? Your brain right now is like a radio stuck on the doom and gloom station. It's playing the same fucking hit on repeat. You're behind. You're not enough. And the classic, everyone else has it figured out except for you. And then that's the soundtrack in your head. Trying to motivate yourself feels like trying to dance about in a pool of quicksand. Happiness, this is what it actually looks like right now. Before you do anything else, I want you to think of 3 specific things that happened recently that made you smile. Like, not big things. I'm talking about the tiny shit. Like, maybe your coffee was perfect this morning, if there's such a thing. Ugh. Maybe, your pet did something amazing. Like, I'm telling you guys, in the mornings, my cat follows me down and she curls up in my lap. It's just so beautiful. And like, it is like, I love it. So, one of the favorite parts of my day. Maybe you saw a cloud and it looked like a dinosaur and it just made you smile. I don't know. Find 3 things. Okay. And you're thinking of it because what's happening is that your brain is doing this thing where it's filtering for evidence that your life is a mess. And it's really good at finding that evidence because your brain is like the world's most aggressive lawyer. And it's trying to win the case of why you should stay in bed forever. Okay. This is the beautiful, beautiful truth about our brains. They're actually designed to be pattern recognition machines. They find what we tell them to look for. And if you've been telling yours to look for problems, that's all it's going to see. It's not lying to you. It's just doing its job too fucking well. So what I want you to do is hack the system. Hack the system. Before you start any task, cleaning your office, I say with a very messy office, cleaning the garage, opening your laptop, making a phone call, spend literally 60 seconds focusing on something that makes you feel even 5% lighter. And I'm not saying like pretend everything is perfect. I just want you to remind your nervous system that it's safe to try. Because what happens when you're in a negative state, your brain goes into threat detection mode. And in threat detection mode, everything looks like a threat, including the email that you need to send or the project that you need to start. Your brain literally processes these tasks in the same way it would process a bear in your living room. No wonder you can't get started. When you choose to shift your focus, even for a minute, you're telling your nervous system, hey, we're actually okay right now. We can handle this. And that's when that motivation inside yourself becomes accessible. Think of it like trying to motivate yourself from a negative state is like trying to drive a car with the emergency brake on. Like, sure, you might eventually move, but it's going to be painful, inefficient, and you're going to damage something in the process. And choosing happiness is really just about releasing that brake. That's it. Number 2, you have to learn how to be a finisher. Your brain is using your past against you. That shame closet that's in your brain, the one where you shove all those unfinished projects, half-read books, abandoned workouts, and broken promises to yourself. There. Every time you think about starting something new, your brain opens that closet and everything falls out. Oh, you want to start another thing. It says, dripping with sarcasm. Remember the last 7 things you were excited about? Remember how those turned out? That, or you have a husband that reminds you. Maybe it's not even the closet in your brain. Okay. That's why it starts to feel so hard. It's not actually about the new project. It's because you're carrying the weight of all the old ones. And every time you abandon something, your brain files it under evidence that we don't finish things. And again, you guys, what does our brain love? Evidence. It's like the conspiracy theorist with a bulletin board and a string. We can connect every unfinished project into a narrative about who you are. But being a finisher is not about being perfect. It's about redefining what finished means. And right now, because I know you're a lot like me, you have this all or nothing definition of completion, all or nothing. The project isn't done unless it's perfect. The workout doesn't count unless you did the full hour. The email isn't ready to send unless you've revised it 17 times. Let me reframe this for you. Finished means you took it as far as you're taking it for right now. That's it. Maybe you start reorganizing your closet and you only got through one shelf. Why can't you notice and see the proof and truth that the shelf is finished? You didn't abandon the project. You completed a shelf project. Do you see the shift? And I'm not trying to play games with you. This is literally rewiring neural pathways in your brain. You're creating new evidence. You're building a new case. Actually, I do finish things. I do finish things. Before you start anything, define the smallest version of done that would still count as an accomplishment. Not the ideal version, but I'm saying the minimum viable version. You want to write? Finished means 100 words, not a novel. You want to exercise? Finished means 10 minutes, not an hour. You want to clean? Finished means one surface, not the entire house. And when you hit that minimum, the game changer is that you celebrate it. You literally tell yourself, I finished this because you did. And what happens over time is so fucking beautiful. You start to believe you're someone who finishes things. And when you start to believe that, your brain stops fighting you when you want to start something new. It starts going, oh, we're doing a thing? Cool. We're really good at things. The trail of unfinished projects that's been haunting you, we're going to start building a new trail, a trail of small, completed actions. And every time you look back at that trail, your brain will have new evidence to work with. And the crazy thing is all these little things move the needle so much more than doing no things. You understand? And number 3, you have to expect mistakes because your brain actually thinks they're fatal. And, that's what's stopping you more than anything. The absolute terror of doing it wrong. Your brain has this catastrophic way of processing mistakes. You make one error and your brain doesn't file it under learning experience. It says, this is evidence of fundamental unworthiness. It takes one mistake and turns it into your entire identity. Forget to respond to an email. You're not someone who made a mistake. You're an unreliable person. Messed up a project at work. You're not learning. You're a failure. Said the wrong thing in a conversation. You're not human. You're absolutely awkward. That's your brain just trying to protect you, by the way. It thinks if it makes mistakes and feels terrible enough, you'll stop taking risks. You'll stop putting yourself out there. You'll stay safe. But the problem is, I love you. Safe is just another word for stuck. And I'll tell you something about mistakes that your brain doesn't want you to know. They're literally how learning happens. That's not metaphorical. I'm saying literally. Your brain forms the new neural connections when things don't go as expected because mistakes are the raw material of growth. If you honestly think about when you learn to walk, or if you watch your kids, you fall approximately 7,000 times. Did your brain go, well, clearly walking isn't for us. We're floor people now. No, it's literally okay. That didn't work. Let's try adjusting again and keep trying. Somewhere along the way, someone, society, that one mean teacher, your inner critic, convinced you that mistakes mean something about your worth. That's someone else's bullshit because they don't. They mean something about your process. So before you start anything, I want you to literally say to yourself, I'm going to fuck this up. I'm going to fuck it up. You know how many times I've screwed up this podcast? Everything I do, even my greatest calling in life as a mom, I fucked up hardcore, but it was a part of the plan. It was a part of the growing process. You're going to fuck up. It's a part of it. And when you're writing that email and you word something awkward, expected. When you're learning the new skill and it feels clunky, supposed to. When you feel ridiculously embarrassed because your YouTube channel is day one baby, new baby, and you've established a solid brand on social media, so it sucks to be the new guy. Yeah, it's okay. It's going to be messy. I've wasted so much time over there. When you try the new routine and it doesn't work right the first time, oh, that stuff is right on schedule. Right on schedule. You're not eliminating mistakes, you're changing your relationship with them. Instead of mistakes being this emergency that requires you to spiral and to question everything, they become data points. Oh, interesting. That approach didn't work. What if I tried this instead? That is me with YouTube. It's not working. What if I try something different? Start keeping a mistake journal. I know. Your fucking brain just went great, Brandon. Another thing to feel bad about when I don't do it. But listen, this isn't about documenting your failures to torture yourself. It's about tracking your experiments. That's all. Every time you try something and it doesn't work, write it down. What I tried, what happened, what I learned, what I'll try next. It does something powerful because all of a sudden your brain turns failures into a process. It's making mistakes feel useful instead of devastating. So your brain starts to see them as part of the path instead of evidence that you should give up. And this part is gorgeous. The more mistakes you make and survive, the less power they have over you. You start to realize that mistakes are just normal. They're not catastrophic. They're not permanent. They're just part of being human and trying things. The people you admire who seem to have it all together, they're not making fewer mistakes than you. They've just made more mistakes than you, so they're less afraid of them, you know? And you have to keep yourself grounded in the present moment. I'd say that's number 4, I think we're on, because your brain lives everywhere except for here. Your brain is literally never where you are, right? Like you're trying to work on something right now, but your brain is simultaneously replaying that awkward thing you said 3 years ago, worrying about tomorrow's meeting, making sure your entire future looks like one big catastrophe and running a highlight reel of every time you've ever failed at anything similar to what you're trying to do right now. Ugh, just saying that was exhausting. Aren't you exhausted? It's exhausting. It's like trying to have a conversation with someone while 7 other people are screaming in your ear. Basically, how my husband and I have a conversation here in our house with all the kids. This is intense, especially if you have a brain like mine. Like, we don't just think about the future, we think about 17 possible futures simultaneously. We don't just remember the past, okay? Everything is a re-experience. Like our brains are time machines and they're stuck on shuffle. And this is what's happening. When your brain is in the past or the future, it's not available for the present. And the present is the only place where things actually happen. I want to make that very clear. You can't write the email tomorrow. You can only write it now. You can't undo anything that happened yesterday. You can only decide what you do now. But your brain has learned that the present moment sometimes requires you to do uncomfortable shit. So it's developed this incredible skill of yeeting itself out of the present anytime something challenging shows up. You sit down to work and immediately your brain goes, "Hey, remember that thing you needed to do last week? Let's think about that for 45 minutes." It's not trying to be unhelpful. It's trying to avoid the discomfort of doing the thing in front of you. So this is how we bring it back. I want you guys to use your brain as an anchor. I know you've heard it before and it sounds like wellness culture nonsense, but stay with me because there's actual science here that's perfect for how God designed your nervous system. Your breath is the only function in your body that's both automatic and controllable. Think about that. Fun fact. It is the bridge between your conscious and unconscious. When you focus on your breathing, you're literally telling your nervous system, we're here, we are now, we are safe. When you notice your mind spiraling, and you'll notice because you're going to start paying attention, right, bitch? Just pause. Like, don't judge it. Don't freak out. Don't make it mean anything. Just pause and take 3 conscious breaths. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Doesn't even have to be like crazy deep breathing, just like awareness breaths. Notice the air coming in, notice the air going out. That is it. So fucking simple. It interrupts the spiral. Your brain can't make the future one big catastrophe while it's paying attention to your breathing. You're pressing a reset. And you're not trying to stop thoughts about the past or future from coming. That's impossible and it's just going to frustrate you. You're just practicing noticing when they've pulled you away and you just gently bring it back. That's it. I mean, I imagine you guys, it's like training a puppy, the puppy wanders off, your attention goes to worries or regrets or what comes next. You don't yell at the puppy, you just gently guide it back over and over. That's the practice. And over time, something beautiful happens. You get faster at noticing when you've left the present. The spiral that used to take you out for 3 hours now only takes you out for 30 seconds. You start to have more choice about where your attention goes. When you are present, that's when motivation is accessible because you're not carrying the weight of every failure and future worry. You're just here in this one task and in this beautiful fucking moment. And you want to focus on the result because your brain is going to drown you in the process. So maybe now you're listening and you're like, bitch, I've decided I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to clean my garage. I'm going to start that podcast. I'm going to write that email, whatever. Immediately, your brain's going to do this thing where it like shows you a movie, not a fun movie, but a horror movie. It's called Every Single Step This Is Going to Require and how overwhelming it all really is. You think about cleaning the garage and your brain immediately says, okay, first you have to move all the boxes, but wait, some of those boxes have stuff that you need to sort through and sort through them. You're going to need to decide what to keep, decide what to give away. Maybe you need to label the boxes. You're going to pull everything out, figure out what you do want, what you don't want. You have to buy new storage containers. You need new labels. Got to measure shit. And by the time your brain finishes like the death spiral, you're paralyzed. The task has grown into the impossible mountain and you haven't even started yet. I know you're all laughing because that shit is fucking real. Again, your brain is protecting you from discomfort. It thinks if it shows you how hard something's going to be, you won't fucking do it. So you don't have to experience discomfort. Bitch, just go back on the couch and scroll Netflix. Scroll TikTok. Stop focusing on the process, dummy. Okay? Focus on the result. When your brain starts showing the overwhelming step by step of everything that needs to happen, gently redirect it to the end state. Not, I have to move boxes and sort and organize, but I'm going to have a clean garage where I can actually park my car and find shit. Not, I have to outline and draft and edit and revise and come up with 6 months of content before I start the podcast or write my show, but I'm going to have I'm going to have a finished piece of writing and a podcast that communicates my idea. Like you could feel that difference immediately if you just say it out loud. One makes you tired and the other makes you want the thing. And this works because your brain is motivated by outcomes, not the process. When you focus on the result, you're activating the reward centers in your brain. You're giving it something to move toward. When you focus on all the steps, you're just activating this is hard center. And if you're like me, that automatically triggers the avoidance response. And this means that before you start anything, visualize the completed version. Own it in a current moment. My garage is neat and tidy and I love pulling my car in. Not a vague, wishy-washy way, but like really specific detail. What will you see when it's done? What will you feel? What will be different? Picture yourself walking in and actually being able to find your tools. Picture pulling your car in and not having, to squeeze out. Picture the sense of accomplishment when someone says, wow, this is organized, and you feel proud instead of embarrassed. If you're working on a project, picture it completed. Picture sending it off, getting the response, feeling that satisfaction of I actually did this. Your brain needs a target. When you give it one, it can figure out how to get there. When you just show it obstacles, it shuts down because it doesn't know where the fuck it's going. And the sneaky part is that when you're focused on the result, the steps don't disappear, but they become less overwhelming. They become means to an end instead of an endless mountain to climb. And your brain goes from, ugh, I have to do all of this to, okay, bitch, what's next? What's the next thing that moves me towards the results that I want? Suddenly you're in motion. You're not paralyzed anymore. You have to give yourself a reward too, because your brain needs to know like what's in it for you. You you know why you show up to work even on days when you really, 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 really don't want to. And this is for my husband, Benjamin. You know why you show up? Because there's a paycheck. Like your brain has learned effort equals reward. The math is clear. But when it comes to the things that you're trying to do for yourself, like the side hustle, personal projects, the growth, uncomfortable changes, your brain is like, okay, but what do I get out of this? And then there's no clear answer. Your brain just doesn't engage. It's being rational. Why would it expend energy for no payoff? Your brain is always doing a cost benefit analysis, always for everything. And when the cost, like your effort or discomfort or energy, is clear, but the benefit is vague, your brain is like, this math isn't mathing. I'm out, bitch. And that's really true for those of us with interest based nervous systems. We can't just make ourselves do things because we should. Our brain needs a reason to give a fuck, and it needs something tangible. So let's give our brain what it needs, a reward system that actually works. This is where systems fail, though. Okay. The reward has to be meaningful to you, not what you think should motivate you. This is where people fuck up, not what motivates other people, what actually lights up your specific brain. Some people, it's food. Other people, it's an episode of their favorite show. For other people, it's time to do nothing. For others, it's buying something small they've always wanted. Your reward is whatever makes your brain go, oh, hell yes, this is worth it. And before you start the task, decide the reward. That's crucial. You're creating a contract with your brain. If you help me get through this, then here's what you get. If then. And it has to be specific, not I'll do something nice for myself later. That is so fucking vague. Your brain doesn't buy vague. It needs, when I finish this, I'm going to Ulta. No, after I complete this task, I'm watching that video I saved. Or once this is done, I'm taking a walk to my favorite smoothie place. And it doesn't have to be big. In fact, the smaller, more immediate rewards work so much better than the huge ones that are so far away. Your brain needs to learn that effort leads to payoff quickly and consistently. Let's say you need to work on something for an hour. Before you start, you tell yourself, after this hour, I'm having that piece of chocolate that I have in the fridge. Or after this hour, I'm playing my favorite song on the speaker really, really loud. Like whatever your thing is. Now your brain has a reason to cooperate. And if you guys want to know how I keep my ass on the treadmill for 3 miles every morning, it's it's games on my phone. Two games on my phone. I can touch them when I'm on the treadmill. If I haven't done the treadmill, I'm not touching them. That's how it works for me. And for some reason, I really, really, really like the games. Okay. That's my brain's reward system. It's a checkout. I don't have to think and like, whatever. That's my thing. Now my brain has a reason to cooperate. It's not just endlessly slogging through work for some vague future benefit. There's a clear transaction. Do the thing. Do the thing. Get the reward. I've turned it into get the reward while you're doing the thing. It makes the thing go by so much faster. And over time, your brain starts to associate the task itself with the positive outcomes. The reward creates a positive feedback loop. Eventually, you'll find that some tasks actually become easier to start because your brain has learned, oh, when we do this, good things happen. But you have to follow through. This is critical. If you promise your brain a reward and then don't give it, you're teaching your brain that this reward system is bullshit and it will stop working. So you have to be honest with yourself and choose things that you can actually deliver on and then actually deliver on them. Your brain isn't a machine you can force into submission, right? It's literally a God-given part of your co-creation. It's the partner you need to negotiate with, and every partner needs to know what they're getting out of the deal. And use a timer. Like there's something wild about the way our brains work because they're simultaneously terrible at estimating time and completely controlled by it. I don't know how that works. Like I don't know how time became such a construct in our lives, but you sit down to work on something, your brain's going to go, this is going to take forever. My kids, I homeschool, right? This is going to take forever, mom. We're done with school in like an hour, dude. Okay. Mom, it's going to take all day. This is endless. And the feeling of endlessness is so overwhelming that some days we have to walk away again before we can even start. Or maybe you start working your brains like we've been doing this for hours when it's only been 12 minutes. Okay. Time feels stretchy and weird and unmanageable, especially if your brain's like mine. But without that external structure, time is just this vast, shapeless thing that our brains can't get a handle on. So let's give our brain what it desperately needs, and that's a container. A timer is going to do just that. It's going to turn endless, overwhelming task into a specific bounded period of focus. It transforms I have to do this thing to I have this thing for the next 20 minutes. That shift from infinite to finite makes everything possible. Your brain can handle almost anything for a short, defined period. It's the endlessness that breaks it. And when you set a timer, you're telling your brain, like, bitch, this ends. We're not going to be here forever. You just need to show up for this amount of time. So before you start, decide how long you think it should take. Not how long it could take, but how long it will actually take given your energy and focus level. And be honest. If you're fried, maybe you only have 15 minutes of focus. That's fine. 15 fucking minutes is better than no fucking minutes. And here's the thing. This is what happens to me. I try to beat the clock. I do that because it introduces just enough pressure to keep my brain engaged without tipping over to the edge of anxiety. That's it. It's like, when you're running late and suddenly you can get ready in half the time it usually takes. I am the queen of that. My makeup can take an hour and a half. If I'm late, it could take 20 minutes. And I swear it looks the same. There's something about a deadline, even an artificial one, that focuses our attention in a way that work on this whenever never does. Your brain likes games, it likes challenges, it likes concrete goals. Beat this timer is all three. And this is what happens. That open-ended task that felt impossible becomes a sprint. Like, can I finish drafting this email before the timer goes off? Can I clean this counter before the buzzer? Can I write 200 words in the next 25 minutes? Okay. Suddenly you're not drowning in an endless ocean of work. You're running a race with a visible finish line. And the sneaky bonus. When the timer goes off, you'll find you want to keep going. The hard part is just starting, but once you're in motion, momentum carries you. But even if you stop when the timer goes off, you've still done the thing. You still move the needle forward. There's a million timer apps out there. Bitch, mine just has one on its phone. Find something that works for you. Tool doesn't matter, but the boundary does, okay? And don't set timers that are too long. Your brain's going to check out. If you set a timer for 2 hours, your brain goes, well, that might as well be infinity. Start with shorter chunks, okay? Even 10 or 15 minutes and just build from there. The goal isn't to work for as long as possible. The goal is to work in a way that your brain can actually handle. And your brain can handle anything when it knows exactly how long it is to handle it for, okay? Um, this one, there's, I say this sometimes because it does work for me. Like a lot of times it works for me, but read inspirational shit. Okay. Whether it's, you follow Instagram influencers who post the thing, or you have this incredible list of affirmations, and that's what I have. When you read words, it's changing things in your brain. When you read words from someone who's achieved something significant, you're giving your brain evidence for the thing, saying it's possible. Your brain has a story about what's possible for you. And that story has been shaped by your experiences, your failures, your fears, and that one person who said that one thing that one time that still lives in your head for rent free. Fuck that guy. Your brain has decided that you're capable of, based on limited data. And it's treating that decision like it's a law of physics instead of what it actually is, which is just a bullshit story you've been telling yourself. When you read words from someone who's done hard things, created things, overcome things, especially when their words resonate with something deep in you, like you create a crack in the story, you're introducing new evidence. Wait, if they could do this, maybe the rules I think apply to me aren't actually fixed. And this matters because your brain is constantly looking for the pattern matching. It's trying to figure out what's possible by looking at what others have done. And when you surround yourself with words from people that have achieved the things, especially, that are similar to what you're trying to do, your brain is starting to categorize your goal differently. So you're no longer put under impossible things people like me don't do. You start saying challenging things that people have successfully done. That shift is everything. And this only works if you choose quotes that actually speak to you. I can't tell you what's good. I can't tell you to follow what's trending. It's the ones that you read that make your chest feel lighter or truer, or the world looks more possible. And create a collection. I've got them in my notes, I've got them in my planner. Whatever it looks like, just make sure it's your collection. Every time you encounter words that make you feel like you can actually do the thing you're trying to do, save them. Maybe for you, it's the man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away a small stone. Maybe it's you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Like maybe it's something you've never heard before that someone said in a video or wrote in a book. Specific words don't matter. What matters is that they remind you of something that your brain tends to forget, that change is possible, that hard things are doable, that you're not uniquely incapable. Then, when you're feeling stuck, and you will feel stuck, okay? You read them. Not all of them, just one or two, just enough to shift something. Your brain is running on old software that's convinced you can't do shit. And these quotes are little updates to that software. So everyone is introducing a slightly different possibility, maybe even a slightly different perspective. You're not looking for magical words that will instantly transform you because they don't exist. You're looking for like just a gentle reminder that other humans who also doubted themselves, who also felt stuck, who also thought they couldn't do it, did it anyway. This is going to expose your brain to these possibilities. And the more it starts to believe them, not because you're brainwashing yourself, but because you're literally rewiring the neural pathways that determine what you believe is possible. God designed your brain with this incredible capacity for change, for growth, for renewal. These words are just tools to activate what's already there and the knowledge that you're capable of more than you currently believe. You have to consider the price of failure because sometimes we need to feel the burn. And I know this is uncomfortable. I know. Talk about what happens if you don't do this, okay? We've been focusing on positive motivation, rewards. It feels good, and that works for a lot of people. But some of us, and maybe you're one of them, are actually more motivated by wanting to avoid pain than we are by seeking pleasure. And it is not a flaw. It's just my nervous system is wired like that. And there's nothing wrong with using it, okay? Work with what you've got. The actual cost of not following through isn't that vague bullshit like, oh, things won't get better. There's a specific, tangible 5 year from now cost. If you don't self motivate, if you don't do these things that you know you need to do, where will you be? And for me, this is spiritual warfare. If I don't step into my God given potential, what am I going to say at the end of this life? Oh, sorry, my phone was so much more appealing than stepping into my potential. I don't know. Will you still be in the same place having the same frustrated conversations with yourself? Or will you still be watching other people do the things you wish you were doing? Or will you still be carrying around the same heavy feeling of that untapped potential? How do you, that guilt from not using your potential? I don't know how that hasn't broken you yet, but this is your chance to feel the heat. What relationships will have suffered because you're irritable and frustrated with yourself? What opportunities have passed you by because you couldn't believe you could handle them? Your brain needs to understand that staying where you are has a price too. And it's not the safe option. It's not the neutral option. It's just a different kind of pain. And it's a slow, chronic pain of regret. You understand? There's no acute, temporary pain of effort. It's terrible. Make a list and write it down. If I don't change this pattern, here's what I'm signing up for. Are you staying at a job you hate because you never built the skills to leave? Maybe you're watching the idea, your ideas stay ideas forever while other people execute the same shit. Maybe it's the slow erosion of your self-respect as you continue to break promises to yourself. Maybe it's your kids growing up seeing you as someone who talks about doing things but never did shit. Maybe it's looking back at your life and realizing you spent it waiting for the perfect moment that never came. I'm not trying to be cruel here. You know that the show can be abrasive. I want you to wake the fuck up and wake up the part of your brain that needs to understand the cost of inaction is so fucking real, not hypothetical. Again, the math is mathing. Every day you choose to not self motivate, you're choosing the consequence that comes with that. And those consequences compound. You're making the invisible visible. The cost of not doing something feels abstract and far away. The discomfort of doing it feels immediate and concrete. So your brain chooses to avoid the immediate discomfort. But when you make the long-term costs equally concrete, equally real, you're giving your brain a different equation to work with. Now it's not comfort now versus vague bad stuff later. It's discomfort now versus specific consequences that I can clearly see. Some of us need to touch the hot stove to really get it. I've taken the hard way my whole fucking life. We need to feel the stakes. So feel it, not to punish yourself and not to spiral into shame, but to motivate yourself with the full fucking picture. You're going to experience discomfort either way. Either, the comfort of doing hard things and growing or the discomfort of staying stuck and shrinking. You don't get to opt out of discomfort. You only get to choose which kind you're going to have. And when you really understand what you're choosing between, you when you see both the reward of action and the price of inaction, you give yourself the full information you need to make the choice. God gave you this one life, one brain, one chance to become who you're meant to be. The price of not using that isn't just that you don't achieve your goals. The price is that you never find out what you're capable of. And I don't think that's a price you want to pay. And I want you guys to make sure when you're going through this process that you are willing to move your bodies. Okay. Your brain doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's not a separate entity floating around independently. It's a part of your body and it's deeply affected by what your body is doing. So if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling unmotivated, if you're unable to get started, there's a decent chance your body is stuck too. You're probably sitting in the same position you've been sitting in for too long. Your blood's moving slow, your energy is stagnant, and your brain is like, well, if the body's not moving, there must be no reason to be on alert. We're clearly in conservation mode. Let's not do anything. When you move your body, everything changes, literally everything. Blood flow, oxygen, neurochemicals, your nervous system gets a signal that it's okay to be awake and engaged. No woo bullshit, basic physiology that God designed into our system. Your brain and your body are one integrated system. And when one is stuck, both are. Okay. So if you're feeling stuck, stand up, walk around your house, walk around the block, do fucking jumping jacks. I don't care what it is, just move. Okay. I'm not saying train for a marathon. I'm not saying get in shape, but that's a nice bonus. I'm saying unstick your brain by unsticking your body. 5 minutes will change your whole fucking nervous system. Okay. It regulates your nervous system. Do that. Move your body. It's a tool for regulating the brain, not the other way around. Okay. So for sure, this is key. And people mess this up, keep the breaks short here. Like when I'm going to be in the office for a long period of time, treadmill's right behind me. I do a lap or two. Literally, that's it. Just a lap or two in between, that's a whole different thing than just quitting and not moving. When you move for just 5 minutes, your brain stays like loosely tethered to the task. It's getting a reset, not a replacement activity. You're going to feel different. You're going to move different, but your brain will function better when your body is activated. Okay. Not motivation. Like it's biology, So I want you guys to think about that because God designed your body and brain to work together, not in opposition. So movement isn't a distraction from your work. It actually will fuel it. And when I am feeling stuck, I don't think my way through it. I go walk around, even if it's just pace the house. And the last thing, you guys, I think is really important before I get off of here. I feel like I've been talking forever. Is measure your progress. Your brain can't see what it's accomplished, and it disconnects everything you've already done and it will magnify everything you haven't done. That's just what your brain does. You could work on something for 6 months, make incredible progress, transform some aspect of your life, and your brain will just not count it. It just won't. And this is brutal for big long-term goals. You have to keep track of this. Okay. This is on your response. This is you. If you're writing something, maybe it's, word count by week. Building something, maybe it's components completed. If you're learning something, maybe it's skills acquired or outward practice. If you're changing a habit, maybe it's consecutive days maintained. The specific metric doesn't matter as much as the fact that you have a metric system, because when you have a metric, you have data, and data is evidence, again, that your brain can't argue with anymore. You're creating short-term goals within your long-term goal. You're breaking that distant, overwhelming finish line into a series of closer checkpoints, okay? Instead of shit like, I need to finish this entire project, well, it feels impossible. When you're at day 12 of a 365-day journal, it becomes, I need to hit this week's target, okay? And that your brain can handle. Every time you hit one of these checkpoints, something happens in your brain. You get the dopamine hit, little sense of accomplishment, a little piece of evidence that says, we're doing this, we're actually doing this. And that shit accumulates. That shit builds momentum, creates a feedback loop where progress generates motivation, which generates more progress. You have to actually track this, okay? I mean, write it down, do a spreadsheet, because again, your brain is not going to remember this. And then when you're feeling discouraged, cool thing is you go back and read it. Okay. Create a done list. Let your brain see the accumulation all stacked up. Big goals aren't achieved in one dramatic moment, right? It's 1,000 small, unsexy, incremental actions that don't feel significant, that compound that transformation over time. If you're measuring those, your brain's going to convince you they don't matter, but they do, and they're everything. God designed you with a capacity for enormous growth and change, but that growth only happens gradually, day by day. So measuring your progress is how you make that visible. It's how you prove to yourself, okay? Self-motivation isn't something you master once and you're done either. I've been working on this for years, darling. It's not a switch you flip, it's a skill you practice. Sometimes I practice this every single day. Sometimes it's multiple times a day. Some days I'm going to wake up and these techniques work like magic. Other days I do all of it and I still struggle. And it doesn't mean you're fucked up, okay? Doesn't mean it doesn't work. It means that you're human. Your brain is the most sophisticated piece of biological engineering in the known fucking universe. God didn't make a mistake when he made you. He gave you the exact brain he gave you that's capable of incredible things, creativity, problem solving, growth, transformation, but he also gave you a brain that needs care, that needs strategy, that needs you to work with it, not against it. Every time you're choosing to self-motivate, every single time, even when it's hard, even when it doesn't feel like it's working, you're building new pathways, you're creating new patterns, you're becoming someone different. The person you want to be, the one who does the things, the one who follows through, who creates the life they want, that person isn't some distant fantasy version of you. That's you sitting on the other side of consistency. No need to be perfect, right? But you're worth this. You're worth every bit of effort, every uncomfortable moment, every time you talk to yourself into doing the hard thing. Your life is waiting for you on the other side of self-motivation. Not a perfect life, bitch, a real one. One where you stay actively creating instead of passively waiting. One where you're becoming instead of just existing, and it starts now. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not when circumstances are perfect, but right now. With whatever you have, wherever you are in this moment. And you've got this. Your brain may not believe it yet, but it will eventually. One small action at a time, and you're going to prove it wrong. Bitch, go do the damn thing.